You ever think about death?
Yes.
Sure you do. A fleeting thought that drifts in and out of the transom of your mind. I spend hours. I spend days.
And you think this makes you a better person?
30 years ago, two recent college graduates who didn't know each other jumped in a car and drove from Chicago to New York together. During the course of the drive, they pondered topics such as the film Casablanca, the merits of days of the week underpants, and of course the age-old question, can men and women ever truly just be friends? Well, in the case of When Harry Met Sally, it turned out they couldn't.
Because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
But it wasn't exactly smooth sailing for the couple who was so obviously meant to be together and who entertained audiences everywhere with their incomparable witty banter, thanks Nora Ephron, and ride-or-die friendship. The film did much more than introduce a never-ending parade of tourists to Katz's Delicatessen hoping for one of those climax-inducing sandwiches, or introduce us to the term high maintenance, but it made major movie stars of its two leads, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. In fact, when I see Meg and Tom Hanks together in Sleepless in Seattle, I scream, "How could you?" at the TV. True story. In honor of its 30th anniversary, the film will open the 10th annual TCM Classic Film Festival on April 11th, with both stars and director Rob Reiner in attendance at the TCL Chinese Theatre screening. The following day, Crystal will add his hand and footprint to the theatre's iconic forecourt. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter ahead of this historic occasion, Crystal acknowledges the bittersweet nature of the event as Bruno Kirby, who played Jess, Carrie Fisher, who played Marie, and screenwriter Ephron are no longer with us. That makes it all the more poignant for this 30th anniversary screening, says Crystal. It was such an important movie for all of us. None of us had any idea what would become. Rob Reiner was the best director I've ever worked with. He understood the human part of comedy and the rhythm of comedy. There's no one like him. And we were able to create all these new things that weren't in the script together, all of us, including the orgasm scene.
Yes! 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 Oh! Oh! Oh!
I'll have what she's having.
Ah, yes, the orgasm scene. Undoubtedly one of the most iconic film scenes of all time, but how did it come, no pun intended, about? According to Crystal, it all went down, again, no pun intended, about 2 weeks before the film began shooting. Ephron felt that something was missing and suggested that they include a scene about women faking orgasms to take Harry's womanizing self down a peg or two. Says Crystal, Rob was like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, women fake orgasms, Rob." "Really? They never fake one with me." So now that becomes a line of dialogue. Then Meg said, "I should have an orgasm. That would be hilarious." And I went, "In a public place, like a restaurant." Nora goes wild and then we're all laughing and then I said, "And then we'll cut to an older woman who will say, 'I'll have what she's having.'" And that's how it happened. And Crystal makes a good point when he says, let's face it, in the history of movies, except for porn movies, no one ever used the word orgasm. No one ever said that. Bogart never said, "You know what, Louis, this was a great orgasm." Gable never said, "Frankly, I don't give a damn about your orgasm." No one ever said it. And so it was shocking when it was out there, and it was such a provocative idea. When asked if he remembers the first time he saw an audience respond to the scene, Crystal recalls it vividly. He explains that he and Rob were sitting in the back of the theater in Burbank when the film was screening for the first time and the deli scene started. Says Crystal, when she starts faking it, they go berserk. I mean like berserk. You couldn't hear any dialogue. They laughed through the next scene. The raw, it was gigantic. I realized that Rob and I were now holding hands. We were gripping each other because it was so momentous a laugh. To read Seth Abramovich's full interview with Billy Crystal ahead of his hand and footprint ceremony, head to THR.com. For the Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Lindsay Rodriguez.